Каждый вторник в 12:10 один из самых известных раввинов нашего времени, Маниса Фридман, в прямом эфире отвечает на вопросы наших слушателей. Вы услышите мнение самой мудрой книги человечества – Библии, о самых сложных проблемах, стоящих перед современным миром. Присылайте ваши вопросы заранее на наш имейл info@rusa.fm или во время передачи по СМС 347 460 08 77.
Доброе утро, день точнее, всем, кто сейчас настроен на радио USA. Я с радостью говорю, что слава Богу, вторник, слава Богу, потому что я с нетерпением жду этого момента каждую неделю, когда мы можем пообщаться с раввином Манисом Фридманом и разобраться в нашей жизни, которая очень сейчас запутана. Поэтому вопрос, с которым я хочу к нему сегодня обратиться, это на самом деле, почему, что и как в иудаизме. То есть вообще разобраться. Главный вопрос – это почему Тора называется живой, как что-то написанное может быть живым, и почему оно актуально, постоянно актуально. То есть уже на протяжении 3336 лет она все еще актуальна и все еще живет, и, конечно же, будет жить, дай Бог. Вот, но вот это и есть наш сегодняшний разговор с раввином Манисом Фридманом. Почему, что и как в иудаизме. Rabbi Manis Fridman, hello. Thank God it's Tuesday. Thank God it's Tuesday. Always, once we finish, I cannot wait for us to start again, and especially today, because realistically, the question is what, how, and why in Judaism. Why, what, and how. Meaning, what makes Judaism. And the big question, of course, is we say that a scripture, which is Torah, I don't know if we can call Torah scripture, but let's say it's something written, so it's a scripture, be a living thing, a living organism. It's always alive. It's changes in according to the times. How it is at all possible, why every year it's in accordance to the time we're in. So a lot of questions and way more to come. So let's start here, please.
That is a very, very good question, because a text can't do that. But that's why the bulk of Torah is oral. It's not in the text. Most of the details, most of the background story behind what is written is oral. It's the Mishnah, it's the Gemara, it's Kabbalah. That part is alive. And probably that's why it was given that way. Not everything was written purposely, because what's written can't grow, can't change. That's the good part. The important part is that it can't change. But how do you live it? So for that we have the sages, the rabbis, the teachers, the geniuses, and we've had many. The most recent, of course, is the Rebbe, who made the Torah come alive for our generation and for our condition and for our problems. But those who live only by the written word, there's no life.
Rabbi Friedman, I'm glad you said you said the Rabbi. It's in our generation, anybody who is a Chabad lives by the word of the Rabbi. It seems like sometimes it's easier and it's almost like a cop-out. It's like, well, the Rebbe said so, so pretty much let's just follow it. Whatever we think about it, it's irrelevant. The Rebbe said so, so let's just go along with it. So sometimes it seems strange, not just to the people who are observing the Chabad ways, but also sometimes it's questionable even within the Chabad. Well, not so much within the Chabad, not those who follow the Rebbe, but for the rest of the world, it's like, okay, so you do everything because the Rebbe said so. How does it exactly? I mean, what, you don't have a mind of your own?
Actually not. To make sense of such a confused world, you have to have a huge mind. Because we don't waste time with temporary solutions. Yeah, if you just want to put a Band-Aid on the problem, anybody can do that. You want to put a good Band-Aid, a big Band-Aid, so you have to have somebody a little smarter than the average. But to come up with an attitude, with an approach that will be good for the next 30 years, to be able to see 30 years in advance, you need a huge mind. And for that, we have leaders. So we're a little schizophrenic about the subject. What, there's somebody who can tell you what to do? And then on the other hand, when we get into trouble, where are the leaders? Why didn't anybody say anything? Why didn't somebody tell us? So make up your mind. You want somebody to tell you, or you want... So we got mixed opinions about that. But the truth is, the Rebbe didn't tell us what to do. It wasn't a command. It was an education. The Rebbe explained the problems. The Rebbe explained the solution. It's rational. It's understandable. It's sensible. It's almost undeniable. So it's not he said what to do. He gave us some wisdom so that we see and understand what's going on around us a little better than most people. If you had a question and you went to the Rebbe for advice and he gave you advice, then yes, you have to do it, because if you ask, it means you're committed to following. There's a famous story where somebody was told that his daughter had a few hours left to live. She was seriously ill in the hospital. So, when all else fails, the man called the Rebbe's office and asked that they should ask the Rebbe for a blessing for the daughter. The rabbi, Chadakov, the Rebbe's secretary, picked up the phone, spoke to the Rebbe, and told the father that he should call back tomorrow. And the man said, "There is no tomorrow. The doctors are saying it's a matter of hours." He said, "The Rebbe said to call back tomorrow." He said, "There's not going to be a tomorrow." So Rabbi Chadakov said, "You called the Rebbe because you believe he knows. So you're trusting him for his blessing? Trust him for his advice. Call back tomorrow." The daughter survived the night, called back the next day. There was a blessing, and the girl got out of the hospital. But the idea is, if you're calling for the Rebbe's advice, and then you're not going to listen? So, by a chassid, if the Rebbe tells you to do something, which is very rare, of course you're going to do it without a question. Even if it doesn't seem to be rational or even doable. But in terms of how we see the world and what our life is all about, That's an education. That's not dictated.
Rabbi Friedman, since we're speaking about rational and irrational, I just want to bring up when you said everything is clear and understood, but then there was this action, cannot recall the year right now, but during Rabbi's time here, where he said that everybody needs to nail a tzedakah box to the wall in order to avert earthquake in Israel. So one of my teachers actually told me that story. She was about 18 years old, so this was probably close to 40 years ago, something like this, and there was a big earthquake going towards Israel, and Rabbi said, you know what, just take your tzedakah box, which is where we put coins, donations, I don't want to call it piggy bank. That would be weird. and everybody did, and the earthquake bypassed Israel and hit Armenia. Sorry to everybody who lived in Armenia at that time. But that is a little strange. But yet everybody followed the advice, and it was written up in the newspaper. How does that work?
Those are very rare occasions because the Rebbe knows things that we don't know. And when he makes such statements, we take it very seriously. By the way, Armenia is mentioned in the Torah. It's called Uts. Eretz Uts. I think Job lived or came from Eretz Uts. It's Armenia. Armenia is a offshoot or branch of Rome. Romania. After they destroyed the Beis Hamikdash, there were many Romans who were terrified that they're going to get punished by God. So they left Rome and started their own little country. And the Navi says, have a good time because you're not going to get away. It's going to catch up to you. You destroyed God's house, you're going to lose your houses too. And that was the earthquake that devastated Armenia. So going back to the Rebbe, there were many times when the Rebbe was upset that people did what they were supposed to do, claiming that they're obeying the Rebbe. The Rebbe was, I explained it to you, I taught you, we repeated it over and over again, and all you can say is that I told you to. That's not a chassid. A chassid is not somebody who only obeys. You understand, you learn, you grow, and when you don't understand, you say I don't understand, and you ask for clarification. It's not, even a soldier shouldn't be just obeying. Should I shoot now? Should I shoot again? What kind of soldier is that?
Rabbi Friedman, can we go back? We were talking about the Torah being a living. Why does Torah have cycles? Why does it have it every day is according to Torah?
Well, every day has its purpose. Just like every human being has their personal purpose. So every detail is meaningful, every detail is purposeful in God's plan. So what is God's plan for today? Well, look in the Torah. the weekly reading of the Torah. What does it say? What is it telling you? It's like Torah is like a handbook instruction for a relationship. The nature of a relationship is if it doesn't go up, it goes down. Two people trying to have an intimate relationship, either every day gets better or every day gets worse. It's too alive to be static, to be stuck. A relationship can't remain neutral. Every day, it either gets a little better or it gets a little worse. You're either growing closer or you're growing apart. So if it was just a project, so I put the project on hold, I'll get back to it tomorrow, what's the big deal? But it's not a project, it's a relationship with God. And we know that relationships are dynamic, they're alive, and if you don't give them oxygen, if the relationship can't breathe, it's dangerous. So every day we have to breathe a little life into the relationship. All relationships.
Freedom, but you just said, so today is a day that is presented to us on both levels, on the worldly stage and on the personal stage. Okay, on the worldly stage, we know what's going on. We can't reach peace between Russia and Ukraine. Still, there's still problems in the Middle East, and personally, we need to get up, go to work, take care of our families. So, looking into the Torah, there's a lot of questions. What answers would today's Torah portion say to us to resolve our questions of the day, let's say?
You can read the Torah, 10 people, 100 people can read the Torah and come away with 100 different reactions. What are we reading about? We're reading about the reconciliation between Yaakov and Esav, which basically means the Jews and the world, in very general terms. Esav was coming to kill Yaakov. Yaakov sent him some gifts, prepared to fight him in a war. And it impressed Esav, and they made peace. In fact, Esav wanted to be very friendly, and Yaakov said, we can be good friends from a distance. So you go your way and I'll go my way, but no more hatred, no more. What was the resolution? Well, the fight originally was, who is the firstborn? Who is the Bechor? They were twins. And Yaakov believed that he was the Bechor, even though he delivered second. And that's why he was holding on to Esav's heel, because he was supposed to be first. Esav sold the firstborn rights to Yaakov, and Rivka made sure that Yaakov got the blessings of the firstborn from Yitzchak. So, in the end, Yaakov is the older. Esav wanted to kill him for that. When they reconciled, What was the reconciliation? Esav admitted that Yaakov was the Bechor. Especially after Yaakov wrestled with Esav's angel and was victorious. Again, the same thing. What were they wrestling about? And how can a human being wrestle with an angel and win? Physically? Not possible. The wrestling was, Yaakov insisted that the angel agree that he is the firstborn. So if Esav's guardian angel admits, then of course Esav will eventually admit too. So he did. Esav said, fine, you're the older brother. That's what we need to be looking forward to. It's time now, as we're reading this, that the world is looking to the Jewish people and saying, you're our older brother. Years ago, the Pope at that time, came to the synagogue in Italy. And he opened up his speech by saying that he's very pleased to come to speak to our older brothers in faith. So using that expression, the world is ready to admit, and of course the Pope is in Rome, which is Esav's territory. So he represents Esav. The world is ready to admit that we are the older brother and that we have the answer and that we have to be their teacher and their guiding light so that they know why they exist and what God expects of them. Many years ago, there was a church group that came to the Chabad house. A group of ministers, actually. We spoke, it was very nice, they were very, very respectful and receptive. And then one of them said, so what is our role in God's plan? I thought that was getting a little too personal. And I was young. And I said, I can't tell you what your role is. I can tell you what our role is. But everybody's got to figure out for themselves. Afterwards, I'm speaking to the teacher, to the main guy. And I said, it was very sad to hear somebody say, tell us what our role is. That they have to ask somebody else about their own place in the world. And the teacher there said, no, that's exactly right. We need to know, and we ask the Jewish opinion. So we've been hiding, we've been on the defensive, we've been embarrassed. The world does not benefit from that. Nobody benefits from that. So we read in this week's parsha, Yaakov was concerned. Esav was coming with 400 men, and he intended to do some violence. But when he saw Yaakov, he melted. And interestingly, Yaakov said to him, I just want to bring you up to date. I've been living with Lavan, and while I was there, I kept all 613 mitzvahs. Why was he telling him that? Make him jealous again? Sounds like I'm better than you. What he was saying is, if I can live by the mitzvahs in Lavan's house, you can't defeat me. I have the answer to your existence. I know why you exist. So you need me. And that's why I'm not afraid. And Asaph said, yeah.
Rabbi Friedman, but this is the same story that we read 20 years ago, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, on the same day, on the same week. How is it different in this day and age than it was any other year in the last 3,336 years since the Torah was given to the Jews?
Well, first of all, it worked. Every year we survived that year, even though the whole world was against us. But they can't exist without us. And they know it. That always gave us the courage to continue, and here we are. But this time, the communication, the ability to reach people, to influence people, is so much greater than ever before. I mean, there's no comparison. A Jew living in a ghetto, in a shtetl, and he's thinking, we are a light to the nations. You know, how can you be a light to the nations? They can't even find you. You're hiding in a ghetto, isolated from the world. Somebody from the outside has to come to tell you whether the war is over or not. Now, I mean, it's magnificent, the increase of communication. And so now it's so much more realistic, it's so much more visible. Sure, we can be the influence. And an interesting thing, I don't know if you noticed this, what happened to celebrities? We used to worship celebrities. Now we look at them like weirdos. Like who killed themselves and who overdosed and who just committed a crime and who is not popular anymore and who is an anti-Semite. Celebrities, I would say pretty much it's over. The age of celebrity is finished. And they are replaced by influencers. Now the big names are influencers, not entertainers. In an age of influence, we can shine because we are the ultimate light to the nations, the ultimate influencers. So we're not celebrities. We were never good at that. we never became the world's celebrity.
We have Barbara Streisand.
We had a few celebrities, but as a people, but we are the influencers. Just going back to the Rebbe's influence, not on Hasidim, the Rebbe's influence on the world is much, much greater than we suspect. The Rebbe created a whole new agenda for the world.
Rabbi Friedman, why are we more connected and more, I don't know even what the right word would be, to the Rebbe than all the previous rabbis of Chabad, starting with Alter Rebbe, of course? Why are we why do we follow? We learn every Rebbeim's teachings, but we're most connected to the Rebbe, and we listen to his teachings and apply his teachings probably more than the other Rebbeim, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, it's absolutely right. Every stage in the development of the world needs its own wisdom. So, of course, it's the same mitzvahs, it's the same goal of making the world a godly place. But the possibilities, the opportunities of doing that changes dramatically. The Alter Rebbe had to struggle and fight against the Tsar. It was a full-time job. So how do you make the world godly when you're living under the Tsar? It's not the same challenge, and it's not the same issues, and it's not the same problems that we're having today. So how do we make the world a more godly place? Given our conditions, our opportunities, our handicaps. That was the Rebbe. So God has been very, very generous in providing unbroken chain of leadership. And every leader was perfect for his time.
Rabbi Friedman, if you don't mind, let's go back just a little bit to the influencers. There's definitely a lot of rabbis now and just observant people who have their own podcasts, who have their own channels on YouTube and on other social media. And it seems that everybody, somehow everybody is putting religion and politics together. Everybody is speaking not only about morality, and basically the ultimate reason why we're here is to bring morality to the world, but everybody is really very focused on world events, and also who said what in the media, about the influencers, about politics, and about other topics. And it seems like a big percentage of the rabbis or Jewish leaders are really very involved in that. Do you think that this is a kind of stepping stone to get people's attention, to have a voice, and then it's like a transitional stage? Because it seems like the most popular people out there right now are the ones who have an opinion about politics. So my question is basically, are we still playing, the game of popularity, or is there a different route we need to take in order to be the real influencers, like you said?
Yeah, there's a lot of noise, too many influencers going in too many different directions. But it's good. It's good. People are thinking, people are debating. It's much better than the indifference to all moral issues, just how to make money and how to have more fun. We've graduated from that, which is very good news. And I think COVID had something to do with it. But it's good. It's good. From all the noise, eventually the right message will come to the surface, because people can recognize truth if they hear it. They may not come to it on their own, but when they hear something true, it sticks. That's the nature of truth.
Rabbi Friedman, but about the influencers, it's very strange who all of a sudden becomes more popular over the other guy. there's no, I mean, at least I don't see the patterns. I don't understand the patterns, what makes somebody more influential, more popular. And there are some people who are just very silly and they're getting tons of clicks. And it's still money oriented because the more popular you are, the more chances you have to make a buck on that. So not completely disattached from money. What is making people popular these days? And what do you think, So first question is, what makes people popular these days, in your opinion? And what do you think the next level is going to be? So the celebrities are out, the influencers are in. It's not going to be for too long, obviously, because we will get bored with it. What do you think will be the next step after that?
That's a very good question. I think that whatever gives people relief becomes the most popular. Now, you can have relief from comedy. Takes your mind off the problems, the issues, the uncertainties, the anxieties. If it makes you relax, if it helps you accept life as it is, they'll become popular. The smart ones become very popular because it's so reassuring. I'm not even sure what the man is saying, but he sounds really smart and he thinks life is good. So I guess life is good. I don't even care what he says. I don't care what he believes. But if the conclusion is, oh, so life is good? I need to hear that. That makes people popular. Anyone who is predicting gloom and doom, only the truly desperate will listen to that, because it makes it sound like, oh, my life is not as bad as I thought. There's worse. So I think it's the relief of anxiety, I think, is the biggest issue today. Can anyone take away, diminish my anxiety? And the anxiety comes partly because we know too much, we hear too much, we're overwhelmed by the information, and we don't know what to make of it. And the question then becomes, is life worth living? Not because our problems are overwhelming, but because we don't have a direction. We don't have a conviction that wakes us up in the morning. You wake up because can't sleep anymore. It's not good.
Rabbi Fridman, but what do you think will come after this influencer's state of popularity? What do you think will come after the influencers?
Mashiach.
Kill
and
off
that's
all,
not a religious...
Kill off all the influencers. Now we need Mashiach.
And it's not a religious answer. It's a very rational answer. If we could get rid of the anxiety, how would life be? When the problem is pain, and you say, oh, the pain is going to end when Mashiach comes. Wrong answer. What does Mashiach have to do with pain? Well, when everything becomes perfect, then there won't be any pain. You're missing a few steps here. So utopia is not an answer to every problem. But if the problem is anxiety, then what is the answer? I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. Life doesn't make any sense. What's the answer? Anti-anxiety pills? In other words, what is the opposite of anxiety?
Order, peace,
Clarity.
clarity.
That's Mashiach. What is Mashiach going to do? He'll make everything clear. He'll be a great teacher, a great influencer, who will take away the anxiety. It's a rational answer. I'm anxious about life. Oh, but we're going to make peace. There'll be peace between Russia and Ukraine. So what? What does that have to do with my anxiety? Well, Jews will make peace with their neighbors. Yeah, and? So again, if I have a problem, a technical problem, that because of war I can't do this and can't do that, okay. Find the right answer. Don't tell me Mashiach. That's a cop-out. It's a lazy answer. But if my problem is anxiety, then the only answer is Mashiach. Therapy can't do it. Peace in the world won't do it. More money won't do it. What will take away anxiety? Assuming that anxiety means a pointless, directionless existence. That's really what's causing the anxiety, not the war in Russia or in Israel. So what is the solution to anti-Semitism? I'm a Mashiach. What's the cure for cancer? Mashiach. Don't do that. Makes sense. The reason we need Mashiach is because the problem we have can only be solved by moral clarity, which means getting to know what God wants of us. If we don't know that, then we will remain anxious. The ultimate anxiety is, I'm going to live my life, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to make the best of it, and then I'm going to discover that it doesn't mean anything. There was no purpose to the whole thing. That's anxious. The anxiety comes from the fear that I will discover that my whole life had absolutely no meaning whatsoever. How do you answer that? More money, more peace, better government? What? The only answer is a great teacher and influencer who will convince the whole world to live by God's purpose. That's the only reasonable, rational answer to today's anxiety.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Friedman. That is so priceless to understand that Mashiach is not the answer to our problems, that we need to rationalize everything first and then understand that Mashiach is just going to make it all come to fruition for us. Amazing. It's a very important answer because you do hear it a lot. Oh, big problems in the world. Mashiach. Without Mashiach, nothing. Yeah, exactly. Without Mashiach, no, we're not going to make it without Mashiach. But it's still, we still have to have a reason to be here and to do what we need to do. So that's extremely important.
Yeah.
Hopefully everyone will take this extremely important message away. For this week, we had so many good things we've discussed. Thank you so much for so much clarity in so many different areas. Not a single topic today, many topics, and a lot to walk away with, a lot to process, and a lot to make practical, I hope. So thank you so much. Thank you for this time that you give us every week, and we're beyond grateful. And thank you for the 55 years again. Mazel tov to all of us for the 55 years you've been doing this. And I believe that anybody who still wants to be a part of it, like a partner with you, it's good to know that .org. All the information is there. Let's work together to make this world better, and to have more purpose, and to bring Mashiach and the anxiety as soon as possible. Thank you so much, Rabbi Fridman.
Thank you for being an influencer.
Thank you. With your help. Ну, а всем, кто нас... Еще пока нет. Всем, кто нас сегодня слушал, всем вам огромное спасибо. Спасибо за то, что вы есть, за то, что вы стараетесь сделать этот мир лучше. Вместе мы точно с этим делом справимся. Так что спасибо всем. Поддерживаем друг друга, поддерживаем всех окружающих нас и ни в коем случае не сдаемся. Очень-очень скоро этот мир станет просто таким, каким мы даже не можем его представить. Он и сейчас хороший, а будет феноменальный. С этими словами я, Ани Пекерман, и передача Thank God It's Tuesday. Прощаемся со всеми до следующей недели.
WWPR 105.1 FM HD2